So most of you know that Nintendo announced that Pikmin 3 would be coming to the Switch this October. This is pretty par for the course. Pretty much every great Wii U game has found its way over to the Nintendo Switch in some form or another. And hey, I sold my Nintendo Switch and I really wasn't even playing it before, so I was surprised at my own irritation towards this news, but I think I can finally articulate why that is now. There's this camp of players who often seem miffed that the Wii U library is being stripped of all its great games, like all these games that made it great years ago are now just being shoved onto the Nintendo Switch. They see this as an act that somehow devalued the Wii U, and although I understand that point of view, it's not something that I'm overly concerned about. This kind of thing has been going on for a while with Nintendo. Even back in the Super Nintendo days, we saw compilations like Super Mario AllStars come over to the SNES, and that didn't in any way tarnish what I thought of the NES versions. So that's not really the angle that I'm coming from here. I've always been a Nintendo guy, starting with the 8-bit Wonder Box and progressing through to the GameCube. I love the first-party games, the characters, and how innovative Nintendo seemed to be with its properties. They always found ways to reinvent themselves and their franchises. It's not a perfect track record, but it's pretty close. I think a lot of you would agree that each new installment to a franchise tends to build on or offer something creative to that lineup's library. Now, I'll admit that I checked out on the Wii. I was not a fan of the motion controls. It seemed like a console that, hardware-wise, was clearly not in the same realm as its competitors, and that's okay. They found a different way to compete and be successful. But at that same time in my life, I didn't want unique. I wanted games. Advanced games that push the envelope of technology. I wanted to see where the next gen could take us, and Nintendo was content doing their own thing. And again, I think that's totally fine, but for me at that point, I split off and bought an Xbox 360. For the most part early on, the Xbox 360 really delivered on what I was looking for. Red Rings of Death aside, it gave me the high-def graphics and experiences I wanted from games at that point in my life. As the system aged, though, I noticed a trend. There was this obvious onslaught of game sequels. Now, I'm not even talking about the Maddens and the Sports series, which had been going on for a while already. I'm thinking of your Halos, your Gears of War, Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty. I mean, some of these games are really good, but the sequels were really a bit much at one point, and it was just more and more of the same, and I honestly got really tired of modern gaming at that point in my life. But then there was this thing called the Wii U. It had another gimmick, a gamepad, but for the most part seemed to really bring Nintendo into the modern era. Knowing there was nothing to lose, I took a chance on it and almost instantly found myself sucked back into the world of Nintendo. All those Wii years that I had missed out on, I was able to get back, and Nintendo really put out some great games on the Wii U, notably Splatoon, Tropical Freeze, 3D World, Hyrule Warriors, Pikmin 3, and even Breath of the Wild as an almost swan song to the console. Through Nintendo's ability to continue to innovate and reinvent its characters, they were able to reignite the fire for modern gaming in me, and it felt good to be back and enjoying these characters again. And then came the Nintendo Switch. I bought it day one, as I suspect many fans out there did, and I was excited by the promise of it. The portability feature didn't interest me much. I just wanted to continue the ride I had experienced with the Wii U, and this seemed like the next vehicle to do that. But then an odd thing started happening. All of these games that I had already enjoyed, some like Pikmin even 7 years prior, started arriving on the Nintendo Switch. Now, do I care that they're Wii U games? Hell no, these games are great, but I've kind of already played them. Mario Kart 8 was the first instance of this that I recall, and I just kind of shrugged it off. No need to buy it, I already have it, I had the DLC on the Wii U, but at that point I couldn't help but wonder, why weren't we getting Mario Kart 9? And that trend would of course continue. Do I even really need to rip through the number of games ported over to the Switch? And my concern became not that the Wii U's library was no longer unique, it was that in doing this, the Switch also was now losing its own unique identity. Where are all the great Switch games? Why am I not getting a Pikmin 4 and new Donkey Kong? Where is Mario Kart 9? I mean, it's been years, and the opportunity for the Nintendo Switch to play host to the successors of some of these fantastic franchises is quite frankly being lost. Finally, what I think I found most disheartening today was that something maybe even worse dawned on me. I gave up playing the Xbox 360 because of an onslaught of sequels. Nintendo, you're not even giving consumers the courtesy of a new number after those games' titles. You're adding what amounts to DLC to last generation's games and shamelessly pushing them out. Maybe this wouldn't be so bad if these ports launched alongside of true new versions of these franchises, but as it stands, this really feels like you're just barely trying to get by. Your current hardware, the Switch, deserves better than the few true sequels you've given it. I know the Wii U didn't sell well, I understand that. Just remember that although there may not be a ton of people who have played Pikmin 3 before, there's even fewer that have actually played Pikmin 4. Now, that's likely a divisive opinion, but it is just that, an opinion. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Feel free to write your own rant if you'd like. Be friendly, be nice. Thanks for listening today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you all next time. Later, guys.